Alright folks, this is Sean with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and today's adventure is I'm headed over to Miller's Gun Shop to pick up my new bow, my 2012 bow. I shot a lot of bows this year, and I'm actually going to do a separate video on doing a little review on what I thought of each bow. But for this video, I'm going to take you to Miller's Gun Shop. We're going to get my bow, set it all up. I'm going to give you a tour of the shop, their archery equipment, bows, crossbows, also their guns. And I'm pretty excited. Let's go check it out. Here we go. All right, today we are at Miller's Gun Shop. By the way, I'm Sean with Sean's Outdoor Adventures. And we're going to get set up with my new 2012 bow. I actually came here to Miller's. I shot pretty much all the bows that give me about a 35-inch axle to axle. All in the same category. You know, I shot the Bowtech Insanity, the Matthews Monster. I did shoot a Hoyt. I don't think I shot a Hoyt here, but you guys do carry Hoyts. I also shot the Anarchy, the Bear Anarchy. And you know, after shooting all the bows that have about that same spectrum, I really decided to go with the Bowtech Insanity. So they ordered it in for me. It just got here, and we're gonna get it set up today. So we have Rick and Beth. These are our techs here at Miller's Gun Shop, and this is what they do. They set people up with bows and crossbows all day long, every day. They really know what they're doing. So they're going to get me set up, and so Rick has the bow here. It's in the box.
Still in the box.
Still in the box. So
there it is, Sean.
there it is.
We had to order this bow in special because it has a special camouflage.
Nice.
It's the Infinity camo.
We do try to keep everything in stock, but if a client wants something particular, we get it for them.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I have a 31-inch draw, and it's actually kind of hard to find bows. Well, it's a little easier now because they're making them adjustable draw length again, but for the last bow I got here was in 2007. I got the Hoyt Vectrix, and they were draw specific.
Correct.
And Miller's was the only place around that I knew of that stocked bows in that draw length. A lot of places it was really hard for me to find bows. So
well, you realize that most manufacturers feel that people your size, Rick's size, my son's size, don't exist.
Yeah.
So 30 inches is all they feel you need to have.
So, Sean, with you being here previously, we know what your draw length is.
Yep.
So we're going to set this bow at 31 inches. It comes from the factory at 29, so Beth's going to take it over to the press, set it at 31.
With the changing of these bows, you do find that we're flipping presses a lot.
Yeah.
Having to upgrade and get newer and newer, or newer fingers or whatever to make the bows work in the press that we currently own.
Right.
So it's one thing if you have a bow that you're going to have for a long time and you want to work on it, that's understandable. But if you try to keep up to date, you're going to have to do it with your press too.
Yeah, I know. I used to work on my own bows when, before they went parallel limb, with the old style press, which I have down in my basement getting nice and dusty, but I didn't feel like spending the money to get one of these newer presses.
And they are expensive.
Well, Mom, it wasn't a groundhog or a...
There's a deer.
No, it wasn't.
High fence and stock.
That would work. That would work.
Okay.
Now we're going to relocate the stops.
And then now, you gotta match the stops with whatever.
Yeah, it is important that these stops get moved along with the position of the cam. You can have a real mess if you do not. Alright, Sean, what we're messing around with right at this moment is checking your rest for true center. There are a number of ways and a number of tools that can be used for this, but we tend to like the old-fashioned center shot gauge. We do have a high-spangled laser to check everything, but
Yeah, actually, I bought a laser myself and I've used it, but it still only gets you certain.
This gets you to a really good starting point. I mean, most times this isn't exact, but it really.
For those of you who have not seen one of these work, all you're doing is placing your arrow into the rest, going off the back of the arrow on the string into the center of your nock, on the same location that you just took that reading from, just spin it around, and if everything's perfect, she'll run right down the center. And we're going to put a loop on. Do you have a preference in color? Would you like pink or
No,
red?
no pink. Let's go with dark. Well, I guess.
You got your camos, you've got
Red.
your blacks.
Red would match your bow good.
Blue, green.
Just thinking. We could do red, I guess.
You want to do red?
Now the one thing about the loop, you can make a loop either real tiny if your draw length of your bow is pretty close to being exact, or you can lengthen your loop if you need yourself a little extra draw without affecting the performance of the bow. So in the case of your Hoyt, like your draw specific bows, they're like that, a loop is a way to get a 1/2 inch extra draw. So that's a...
Yeah.
And you also get a crisper release. It takes the torque out of your release. And we'd say probably 90% of our people we set up, we put a loop on.
Yeah, I definitely like the loop. I used to shoot without it, but you know, when you don't shoot with the loop, it also does wear your serving a little bit, and then you gotta when you gotta reserve, then you gotta reset everything, which isn't that big of a deal. But I prefer to not be moving stuff if I don't have to.
I have a real scientific way of measuring.
With the finger, yeah.
So
Normally about a 5-inch piece of loop material will give you about an inch loop, correct.
the other thing you do not ever want to do is once you've used your loop, don't attempt to use it again for another bow. Just discard it.
Know, yeah.
What happens is the heated ends that we just worked with there do get a little fractury, and you start to or could potentially have a problem with it. So just avoid it. It's a cheap thing. Just buy another one. Get the material and do it right. That the client doesn't just jump on the latest, greatest, gimmicky one. We actually tend to let the person shoot a few different ones, see which one works with the bow the best. We've even told folks, especially folks that are relatively local, shoot the bow for a few weeks, really get the feel of the bow, and then come back and let's try some different stabilizers, because by that point you know what the bow truly feels like, if there's a vibration we need to deal with, if there's a sound we need to deal with, and we'll make that change at that time with the proper product. I've had clients spend $50, $60, $70 on a stabilizer and end up coming back and buying a $20 one that worked.
Right.
Let there be light. Fun. Peep, kisser, those kind of things.
I just shoot with a peep. I should have brought. I have.
I know. Okay, again, with these particular bows, we have individuals who have a tendency to stick the end of a butter knife in it, spoon. Not recommended.
For putting a peep in. Okay.
Again, ask your shop to put your peep in for you. Press it. It's a lot safer. Right. And now with the fact that the strings being the two-tone, they're even numbers. You get a little nicer center job to the peep if it is centered properly. While we're here, I really don't like the attachment for your rest. I would prefer we put it into your cable and lace it in. This causes a lot of drag, and they have been known to slip from time to time. So if we do it into your cable, it'll be a lot more secure, becomes a part of the string, a lot neater job. These are fine if you're doing this at home. It's convenient for you. But if you have a shop working on your bow, just ask them to lace it in for you.
Okay, while Beth is working on that, let me give you a quick tour of the store. They have a great selection of bows. Your Bowtech, Matthews, Bear, all kinds of bows. You got some Hoyts right on the end there. Walking around the other side of this wall, you've got a whole bunch of youth bows, women's bows, lots of arrows along the floor. These bows that you can see around the back wall and on the right with the bright tags are used bows, so you can sometimes get a great deal on a whole setup on a used bow, consignment that is. And then you go across the other side of the store, they've got a bunch of crossbows all the way down along this wall here. You walk around the back side of that wall and you've got a whole bunch of more crossbows. So there's plenty of crossbows to pick from if you'd like to get yourself a crossbow. I've got lots of targets, as you can see, stacked up on the floor here. Plenty of turkey calls for those of you who like to go turkey hunting. They also got 3D targets if you like to shoot 3D. Plenty of sights to pick from. You can try different ones out, see which one works the best for your bow, which one you like the most. Lots of quivers. Again, you can try a whole bunch of different ones on your bow, see which one you like the most, which style you think fits best with your bow. Lots of peep sights to pick from. You've got plenty of arrow rests. Again, you can pick different ones, try different ones. You got broadheads, all kinds of different brands, different ones you like. You try different ones out. Anything you would need to get you ready to go hunting or just to get ready to shoot if you want. Now here we are on the other side of the store. This is their rows and rows and rows of guns. A lot of different styles to pick from. In addition to guns, they have some safes. But now, let's move on and talk to one of the store owners. Okay, now we're with Mr. Philip Miller, one of the owners of Miller's Gun Shop, and he really is one of the managing ends of the gun side of the department. Now, I'm usually over in archery, so
right.
But you're going to give us a little rundown of kind of what you offer and what you do over on the gun side of the store.
All right. Well, basically on the gun side, as you can see from what's here around us, we keep a pretty comprehensive inventory of just about every type of currently manufactured firearm.
Okay.
We sell new guns. Obviously, we have guns that come in as trades or guns that we purchase that are used. Those we make sure that they're in proper operable condition before we put them out to sell. We provide service on the guns that we sell so that if somebody buys a gun from us, it's going to work for them the way it's supposed to. We also have a pretty good selection of high-quality optics. We principally like to sell loopholed scopes because we don't have problems with them, but we also have available Zeiss, Swarovski, and some of the less expensive brands as well. We mount scopes, we bore sight them. We actually have a 100-yard underground tunnel in which we can sight people's rifles in if they need them sighted in. They're not able to do it themselves or prefer not to. And when it comes to repair work, we'll do reasonable amounts of guns that we don't sell, providing that we have time.
Sure.
Biggest problem we have is lack of time when it comes to that aspect of it.
Especially when you get in your hunting season. Generally, a lot of guys out there are hunters who are watching this video, and I really encourage you, if you want to, first of all, if you want to get a gun for this season, try to get in here during the summer, because when you get closer to hunting season, everybody's trying to get in here, and you're going to be waiting in line a lot longer. That's just no matter where you go.
Well, the other problem with waiting is that sometimes
your inventory
goes down. You cannot get replacements in many cases.
Yep.
There's always some manufacturer that's extremely popular that simply can't keep up with supply. And that happens.
I also want to say I had a friend come all the way, we're in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania, and I had a friend come from Danville, which is, I would say, close to an hour, somewhere around.
It's a good hour away.
And he came here to purchase a gun, and he ended up going with a nice used rifle that you had.
Right.
And you did get that sighted in for him, and it's worked great for him, and he's had it for a few years. So
yeah, people want something of good quality and don't want to spend quite as much money as a new one. There's always good quality used stuff available.
Yep. Now, you have rifles here, you have shotguns, you have muzzlers. Do you do also any kind of handguns as well?
Oh, lots of handguns. We have a section that my wife takes care of where we keep probably a couple of hundred different handguns on hand at any one time.
Now, of course, like I said, I don't get into the guns as much, but I know there's probably permits and things that need to be...
Well, when it comes to the long guns, rifles and shotguns, there's really not too much of a permit required. All you really need is a hunting license and go hunting. Or if you are shooting out at a game commission range and don't have a hunting license, then you of course need one of those shooting range permits.
Yeah, they're around $35.
They're $30 for a year. That's correct. Cheaper actually to buy a hunting license.
Yeah, and might as well get the license.
Then you can hunt and be done with it.
Right.
When it comes to a handgun, the permit to carry a handgun comes from the county sheriff in the county where you live.
Okay.
And of course, a handgun can only be purchased by a resident of the state where you live.
Right.
The other thing that we do, and it's surprising how much of this happens, we have a lot of people that apparently browse the internet, and they'll see something that they need to purchase from somebody that's in Texas or Louisiana or Oregon or some other state. We will provide the service of sending a federal firearms license to the person who has that gun, have that gun come into us here, and transfer it to the person who wants to buy it. We also do another thing that's kind of interesting. We sell a fair number of guns on consignment for people.
Okay.
If you have something that, for one reason or another, you're not sure just what you want to do with it, we'll put it on Gun Broker for them and find out just what the public across the whole U.S. will pay for it, and handle the shipping and so forth to whomever the new owner might be. So that's another thing that we do.
That's very helpful.
That's a good service. It works well.
So, well, is there any other tidbits we should know before we head back over to the archery department, or?
No, just come in and look around. I think you'll be surprised at the quantity and the quality.
And there's plenty of these nice little rags to wipe down the gun with after you've picked it up. You always want to do that. That's a respectful.
Yeah. My wife is very adamant that if you're going to handle them, you wipe your fingerprints off so we don't end up with a bunch of rusty guns.
Exactly. Well, I really appreciate you letting us see the shop today, and I encourage you out there, come on over to Miller's Gun Shop. This is a great place, great selection, and for me, I love supporting not just local businesses, but businesses in our country. I think our economy has had some trouble, and I think it's partly because we don't put enough investment in the people in our local communities and their businesses. So I encourage you, if you're not in a position to come here to Mill Hall and support Miller's Gun Shop, support the people in your local area. I think that's really important for our country. So thank you, Mr. Miller. And
just one other thing I might mention. We're going to have an election this fall, which is going to probably have a profound influence on who will have the ability to buy guns in the future.
Okay.
We've seen a considerable tightening of the rules. More people that have been unable to buy a firearm because they can't pass the instant check. I would suggest that you pay a lot of attention to who you vote for this fall. See if they are people who support your rights to have firearms. And if you haven't done it, spend the couple of bucks it takes and join the NRA. And I really emphasize that's one of the things we want to do if we want to continue to be able to have firearms.
Sounds great. Well, thank you, Mr. Miller.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Your contact information is going to be, I'm making it available through this video, but also they have a website, and they're very easy to find on the internet. You just type in Miller's Gun Shop, and poof, there you are.
There you are.
So thank you very much.
Okay. You take care.
You too. So just so you know, we have the faux release. It does not actually release. It's just to
allow you to draw your bow.
Lindsay Lowe's.
C-Y or S-A?
EY.
Where are you from?
570 567.
Pretty much be the same. Just go, see a little black dot on that long? Just
on the long.
Yeah, just that little black dot. Go for that. And the deer's long in the bag.
Are these 100 grains in these?
Yes. We're still going to be.
So you just tell me if I'm aiming too high or low.
We have 3 with full length arrow.
That's full length, 100 grain tip. That's pretty good.
Now we're going to get it. Just back up just a hair.
Okay. It might not be.
331.
Good guess, Bryce. That's pretty impressive.
I'd like to thank you for joining me here today at Miller's Gun Shop. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm ready to go home and shoot my new Bowtech. But if you're ever in this area of Pennsylvania, Mill Hall, Pennsylvania, make sure you stop in and check them out, see what they got going on. Until then, take care. God bless.